I saw that, Mikey. Trying to initiate the goat. No, 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 sir. Not during the broadcast. That's not allowed. Let me switch over to my interview screen right now. I'm waiting on Duris to get online because he sent me a message. He said that traffic looks pretty bad. There was some kind of accident on his way home. So, not him in an accident, but an accident causing delays. So, just kind of hanging out, waiting to see if he's going to get on. Maybe try to find someone else that wants to do the video broadcast. And it looks like Clark just volunteered. So, let me. All right, let me set this up real quick.
Dude, that's so dumb. Like, they copied everybody's.
All right, so let's get the real J. Clark on here.
No, these were the guys that killed everybody.
Oh, that's not it. Send message. And video call. All right, I'm going to shut off this screen and then turn on the other one. Hang on one sec here. You there? Clark? Oh, hold on. Waiting on connections. Hey! I see him. Oh, hang on. I gotta change the setting. I gotta change the setting real quick, alright? Can you hear me? Uh-oh. Can you hear me, Clark? Okay. Is the video not working, though? Alright, hold on. Let me try this real quick. Yeah, I don't know why mine's not connecting here. That's weird. Hang on, I'm gonna recall you. Hang on. Technical difficulties, folks. Stand by. Ah, it doesn't like me today. Heyo. What's up, Catty Jacks? We can see Clark, but not Tim, but can't hear Clark. Okay, let me turn on the audio's on. There we go. Now I see Clark and me. All right, let me zoom this thing out. It's quite up on my face there. Nope. And let me change the push to talk because I don't want to push to talk while we're talking here. There we go. Now can you hear me, Clark? All right. Thanks for coming on short notice, buddy. So, yeah, why not? Yeah, what was it? So, Durst messaged me like right around 4:30 and said he's got something going on, or he was stuck in traffic because there was an accident or something. So, I was like, well, I'll see if I can find someone to fill in until you get online, and here we are. And like I just got a notification too from Amazon saying my package was delivered, which is supposed to be a new webcam, and the person was still driving around, so I ran out real fast, and that's why I'm like 10 minutes late. Can't hear Clark. Why can't you hear Clark? Uh-oh. Hold on. What's wrong with the desktop audio? Why am I not getting desktop audio? Hold on. Technical difficulties. Properties. And that. There we go. All right, now let's see if we can hear Clark.
All right. Can you hear me?
They should
Testing.
be. Yeah, they should be able to hear you now because I'm seeing the meters go back and forth there.
Good stuff. Ignore the backdrop I have. See, like
that's okay.
My pantry back there, and
yeah. Let me move my my thing. See my kitchen table and my refrigerator. Yeah, that's my backdrop normally. So I put a nice sheet behind me now, so that way.
Yeah, definitely helps.
Yeah. But yeah, so Darius is a little bit late. That's all right. We'll hang out and talk for a little bit. And I can't adjust my camera. I don't know what's going on. It will not let me. It's like it tilted down too much or something. Let me tilt it up just a little. There we go. All right, you don't get the whole beard, but that's okay.
That's what people come to see.
Yeah, there we go. Now we get more beard. Yeah, I'm having all sorts of problems with this one, bud. Sorry about that.
No, that's all right.
But
I'm the second string guy anyway. Behind...
I appreciate you jumping on short notice. That's freaking awesome. So yeah, and this is exactly the kind of stuff that I think would actually be really cool. Is just maybe once in a while not schedule someone and like
Yeah.
30 minutes before the show, just be like, who wants to come on? You know,
Right. There
it'd
you
be
go.
interesting.
Yeah.
So let's see what's going on in chat here. I did disable the sounds, guys, so you can't do the sounds while we're doing the stream here. It'll be too interruptive hearing "My name is Jeff" every 2 seconds.
This is my gaming chair. Yeah, this is what I sit in when I game. I don't know what brand it is. I think it's a pretty cheap one from Amazon. I got it for Christmas for my wife a couple years ago.
Oh yeah, no, I've always bought like the bottom line like $80 max budget chair, and then finally I bought the DX Racer because I was looking around trying to find something that was better, and this thing's pretty awesome. So
Yeah, I was using I was just using like a regular one of those metal. Wasn't even a computer chair. It's just like a metal chair for a while.
yeah.
I was like, this is definitely an upgrade. So
Yeah. Oh, and there's the front door, of course. I'm a little thrown off right now. So let me see what's going on in chat real quick here. That's my doorbell going off. Can't hear Clark. Yes, we're live. Is that your gaming chair in the background, Clark? Oh, that's what we were just discussing.
yeah,
I'm just here for the beard beads, and they're not here. Yeah, I know. I didn't put them in today because I had to go out to a movie and then go to the home builder that we have building our house, and my wife doesn't appreciate when I wear the beads out in public. So
I was about to say, don't be ashamed, but I guess if it's your wife making the call,
yeah,
can't really argue.
I wore them to church on Sunday, and even that's a stretch sometimes. So. But apparently my package is missing now, so that's going to be awesome to figure that out later.
Yeah, man, it's just a rough night.
Yeah, and it
Or
said,
evening.
like, I got the text right away, and it said delivered, so I was like, oh, I'm going to go grab it, see if I can set it up right before the show, and then I look out the front door, nothing's there. I go around the house, nothing there. And I caught the person that's making the deliveries, and she's like, oh, yeah, I know I dropped it off, and I'm like, it's not there.
Yeah,
I'm like, can you show me where you dropped it off? Because it's not any commonplace I'm looking at. So
that's the worst.
But apparently she just stopped by to tell us what was happening. But my wife has that information. I'll find out after the stream. So Clark, we had this conversation about your real name. So apparently, what is it, Jordan Tim?
Yeah. So, well, my first name is Timothy,
Oh, okay.
and my middle name is Jordan. I had mentioned that on the show or the episode with Cash and Jibs.
Yeah.
When I think Jib said his name was Jordan, and of course your name's Tim. So I was like, hey, my name's Timothy Jordan.
That's crazy.
Kind of a random thing, but yep.
Yeah.
First and second name, last name. Obviously, most time, people don't share, but mine's in my name, the real J Clark. So
Yeah.
don't search me too deep on Google or anything.
We might actually
Don't
find
be
you.
creeping or anything.
Yeah. Don't creepy stalk Clark, please.
Yes.
That's awesome. So, all right, let's get into it, man. So I remember you telling me the line of work you did before, and I think it's accounting?
Yes,
Yeah.
I am in public accounting. Just passed my CPA exam a couple months ago.
Nice.
So glad to have that monkey off my back.
Yeah, that's awesome. So
Yeah.
you're good with the numbers and all that, yeah?
Yeah, it's a challenging job for sure. So still learning.
Clark,
Yeah.
when your whole job is about numbers, you may not want to hesitate when you ask. So you're pretty good with the numbers, right?
Hey, we have
Heck yeah.
software that does all this for us. So
So
I just have to know the rules.
I'm not all red. Oh, I do look a little red on the on the thing. You know what? It's probably because of the lighting. Here, there we go. I'll add a little extra lighting. I bought all sorts of new stuff for the streams. That way, it gets improved. I got a new microphone. I got the Blue Yeti.
Oh, did you get that in?
Yeah, I got that.
I got one too. I don't have it hooked up right now though.
Apparently, it doesn't eliminate my children in the background still. So now I just force them to go find something else to do.
Yeah.
while I'm trying to stream. But apparently my son didn't get the memo because he's still over there playing his game, and I told him to get off a while ago.
Yeah,
So
the Yeti picks up everything.
yeah. Well, and that's the thing is I had the conversation with Jibs about that. What kind of microphone would you have to get to try and eliminate all the background noise? And he was telling me, you can do other things. Like I have the guard in front of it to drown out some of the like the p and t
Yeah.
noises.
Right.
Um, but he said that um, the condensers mics all pick up some type of background noise. So unless you're in your own room or you have a specific there's like a foam build around that you can do that will eliminate a lot of that noise, which I
Hmm.
looked into those too, but they're I don't know. I'm not going to get all crazy into that because I mean, when we're in the next house, it'll be nice because I'll actually have a room dedicated just to the computers, and I can just close and lock them out once when it's time to do the stream when we get to that point.
Right.
So yeah, we'll do this for now. But all right, so let's see what else. What do you have any kind of crazy stories to tell? Because we were just talking on Discord. Did you see the chat that was going on?
Oh, the tornado stuff?
Yeah, so apparently Jay Murph had a tornado just blow by, and he said solid no on joining, which I guess he has a good reason not to do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently there's another tornado coming in, so he's gonna be a hard no on that joining the stream right now.
Yeah. I don't really have any crazy stories. I live in Arkansas, so
Oh, that's
we have
crazy.
yeah, that is pretty crazy. We have a handful of tornadoes. I've always been lucky not to, you know, be in one or around one. So no crazy stories involving tornadoes. And then I'm a pretty vanilla guy, so I don't have a lot of crazy stories about me. I'm just, just a normal dude.
Yeah.
I try to avoid crazy if possible.
See, I always get that because so a little background of me. I went from high school into the army, and then from the army, I started doing IT work basically. And I've done that for the past like 12 years now, something like that.
Yeah.
And you know how you go to some of these like seminars or some of these what is it like the trainings and stuff like that, and they try to do the icebreaker things where one of them I was in, they said, okay, give us two truths and a lie, and then everyone's going around stuff like that. So I said something like I've been married for I think I said something like 15 years, and they can't see me, they can't, all they can hear is my voice. So that was my lie,
Mhm.
was that I've been married 15 years, which at the time I hadn't. No, it was only like 10 years. And then my two other things, one was gosh, I don't remember. I don't know what the other truth was, but my other truth that I said was I before getting into IT, I used to do counter narcotic missions in South America. So when they went around the room and they're like, I said that one, they're like, oh, that's got to be the lie.
Yeah.
Like, what is he doing before going into IT? That he transitioned from that into that, and it's funny because like when I was in the army, I was in military intelligence. So so my main mission when I was in the unit that I was in was we did counter narcotic missions. Ever
Mhm.
since Reagan declared war on drugs, there's been a joint task effort to do more um, more gathering and more intelligence against counter narcotics. And then after 9/11, everything everything became counterterrorism and stuff like that. So it was a way for terrorists to try and get money into the states or make money for arms and stuff like that. So
Right.
yeah. Anyways, it was just crazy when I would tell people that because they're like, "What?
They're like, no way. Yeah.
Like, where does that come from?" Okay, so apparently I'm having some kind of weird problem. My webcam keeps flickering. We
Yeah, it's
have
got a little
we,
flicker every now and then.
yeah, I don't know what's going on with that, but we also have a storm going right now. Like
Oh no.
we had a big dust storm to blow through, and then it's been cloudy with lightning and thunder. So if the stream just stops at some point, that's the issue. Um, So okay. So what else do we got here? Let me jump on my questions here because we kind of
Yeah.
threw this thing together here. We know your first name, we know your middle name and your last name. We
Yep.
know you're in
That's all going to be redacted in the uploaded video, right?
It automatically uploads as we're doing it. So
No, I'm just kidding.
if you want redacted, you'll have to pay a fee. So, what kind of things do you do for hobbies and stuff like that?
So obviously gaming is a big part of what I do. Uh, I've been in the comics in the last couple years. I got two boxes of comics here sitting next to me.
Yeah,
So I enjoy reading those and collecting some of those.
Marvel or DC?
I started in DC, and I've in the last year or so I've gotten a little bit of Marvel too. But I'm more of a I hate picking one or the other because I do like
Right.
both, and I hate how fanboys have those wars between Marvel, DC, or
Yeah.
PS4. It goes on and on. But yeah, bigger fan of DC, but I really enjoy Marvel as well.
It's got to be a conflict between nerds because you got
Right.
the Star Trek versus Star Wars, the
Yeah.
DC versus Marvel, and I'm sure
Yeah.
there's a lot of other things that go
Yeah.
into that war. But
Yeah.
all right, that's cool. So, how many comics do you have so far?
Last time I counted when I was sleeving them, it was like 300 something.
Wow. Okay, so you
Um,
got a good collection going.
yeah, I mean, they add up. They come out weekly, so you get four to sometimes 10 a week, and yeah, they can definitely add up quick for sure.
Right. So, what have you read all the comics that you have, all 300 of them?
Yeah, mostly I have this stack here that I'm behind on. This is my where's my there I am.
Oh yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I mean, I read them pretty much as they come out. So I'll go comics release on Wednesday, so I'll go to the store either Wednesday or Thursday if I can,
Yeah.
and then just throughout the week, I'll just when I have some downtime, read a comic here, read a comic there, and move on with my day.
No, that's cool.
But it's an expensive hobby, so I might have to cut back here before too long.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Some of those can get pretty expensive. Do you have like what's your most valuable comic that you have?
Oh, probably. Well, Action Comics just came out with issue 1000, so it's the first comic run that hits issue 1000. So, and they had like 10 variant covers, and each cover was a different like style of a decade. So you had Superman from like the 30s all the way through the thousands. So
Oh.
I bought all 10 of them.
Oh wow.
'Cause I'm a huge Superman fan. He's my favorite character. You might notice my Discord picture is always something to do with Superman. Um, but I don't buy like expensive like collector's editions comics. I would love to, but I just don't have the money for that. I
Right.
just buy new releases, so really none of them are that valuable
Right.
because they're all just a couple years old, and they don't. The most expensive comics are usually older. That's because they didn't print as much back then, and now they print comics a lot more, so there's a lot more out there and a lot less valuable.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I always make it a point that whenever we go out to visit my in-laws' house, they have a place called Rebel Comics right next to their house.
Hmm.
So usually I take the kids there, let them pick out a comic, whatever, and the guy's got tons of comics, and a lot of them are priced below what the actual value is because he
Yeah.
just puts them in boxes, stuff like that, and then he's got the real high collector items in the cases and everything. But
Yeah.
it's always fun to get the kids there, let them pick some out, and have them read it, stuff like that. So they kind of have
Mhm.
that, ingrained into them. They know about comics. They don't just automatically think people that read comics are nerds or anything like that because
Right.
they grew up with me, so they know.
Yeah.
They know
I
that.
mean, it's definitely. I wish I would have gotten comics years ago, like when I was in high school or younger or something. And it's funny because it's like the older I get, the less I care how big of a nerd I am. It's like I don't care, who cares? I got money, I can do what I want, nerd wise.
Yeah,
And uh, I get more into nerd things the older I get.
yeah. No, and that's the thing is we got to find our hobbies, and that's just it.
Right.
Is what we do with our free time,
Yeah.
and gaming is a big part of it. But I know a lot of the people that we talk to, they always have other things they do on the side.
Hmm.
For the longest time, I was into like RC vehicles, radio controlled vehicles.
Yeah.
So ever since I was in high school, I've done some type of RC vehicle. It started out with just the regular battery powered cars, RC cars. And then when I was in the army, I got my first nitro truck. It was a huge $400 uh, nitrous, was it Traxxas T Max or something like that. And
Yeah.
it was fun because that thing could go like 40 miles an hour. And then I've also done RC planes, helicopters, and now I'm getting into drones and doing photography and videography with drones and stuff like that. Until I crashed my drone and then realized how expensive it is to fix them and how much time it takes to fix them. I finally fixed mine, and it's been sitting in the garage because I'm so scared I'm gonna fly it and crash it again. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll take it out later. Probably take it out to the new house as it's being built and get some shots from the area of the house being built. That'll be pretty cool to see that. So, all right. So let's see. Let's get into like the gaming background. So, what did you start gaming with? Was it a PC console?
Well, when I was really little, we had a Sega Genesis. So I remember playing like Lion King and Sonic, a lot of the other Disney
Oh yeah,
games on there. But when I really got in, well, and then I had a PlayStation 1, and I had, my first game ever for PlayStation 1 I got with it was Hot Wheels Racing. And it was a super fun game. It was exactly what it sounds like. You're
yeah,
Hot Wheels and you're racing. It was
yeah.
awesome.
And
And like
that's
the
like
cars would
every
blow up.
kid's fantasy is being able to
Right.
drive those
Yeah.
cars. And
I had that and I had Frogger. They had like a PlayStation version of Frogger.
yeah,
But when I really got into gaming, well, I still say really, but even then it was more casual. So I went from PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 2, and I had several games for that. I would mow my parents' yard and they'd give me $15, and I would go to GameStop and buy a used game, like one of those just cheap as I could get. And so I played a lot like that, but I don't remember a lot of standouts. I didn't play like a lot of the games people consider classics now for PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 1
hmm,
because I didn't know about them at that time. I was just a little kid going to the store and buying what cover looked cool, really. So really, Xbox 360 is when I really got into gaming, like the way I am today, I should say. Like
yeah.
I've always enjoyed them, but um, and the first big game I had for that was actually Oblivion.
Oh wow,
So that's yeah, I got that. I think it was the year it came out because I got my Xbox 360 that same year. Um, so that's my, I mean, that first game I never played anything like that. Just that huge open world,
yeah,
and you put hours and hours into it. I remember when I first got it because I got the cheap 360. My family was pretty cheap. I was young, and so it didn't come with a memory or it didn't come with a hard drive. So I didn't have I didn't have a memory stick or anything for it, and so I would play it, and anytime I had to turn it off or something, I would just lose my progress.
yeah,
So I had to do that starting sewer so many times because I would have to turn it off for whatever reason, and I did that, and finally one weekend I sat down and I just went through and I finally made it to that first Oblivion gate. And I remember feeling like this is the most epic game I've ever played in my life. You felt like you were charging to battle with like 50 other men, when in reality it was like three other guards, behind you. But
yeah.
it felt so epic. And I remember going outside for the first time after that weekend. I was like, man, my eyes burn from the sunlight right now because I've been inside so long. But yeah, that's really, I would say Oblivion was the first game that really got me into gaming.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so you're deep into the Elder Scrolls then.
Yeah, yeah. I never. So that's obviously the first Elder Scrolls game I played too. Haven't gone back and played Morrowind. I've tried.
Yeah.
It's a little more difficult to get into after you've played newer gen stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah, and that's exactly what I've heard. Is it's always one of those things where I always wonder, if you jump into a game series later on, and then
Hmm.
you see, oh, they have other editions that were back then. A lot of the things I always hear is it's not even worth going back because you're not going to get deep lore lessons that you won't already know from the current title. You'll just not see that gameplay that used to be out at that time.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I've only done that with a couple games where I've bought the previous versions just to see what they were like, and I would,
Right.
you know, once when you play the newest version, go back to older versions, you're like, no, this isn't as good.
It's funny because it seems like whatever Elder Scrolls game was your first tends to be your favorite.
Yeah,
Because people who played Morrowind before, like first, they swear the Morrowind is the best. and then people who played Oblivion, like myself, first. I think Oblivion is the best, and then obviously people who played Skyrim first think Skyrim is the best. So
Yeah.
there will be a lot of more when people tell you that it's definitely worth going back and playing, and it's sure it could be, but it's just the gameplay was so clunky. The questing and the RPG side of things might be amazing, but man, that combat and all the other stuff was just so clunky. It's hard to get into.
I'm just going back reading some of the stuff in the chat, and I just noticed Artemis said, "You're so dazzling to me." That's random. They're talking about someone's dog, and I want to see a dog and a goat. People marrying other people, just random conversations going on in the
Interesting,
chat.
yeah, interesting chat going on.
Yeah, I love that when that happens. Everyone's having their own little chat. It's just like we're all sitting around sharing our tales.
Sharing our
Yeah.
grabbing our L's and sharing our tails.
It made sense at the time. Yeah, I'm sure. I don't pay attention to the chat as much just because a lot of the times I'm trying to pay attention to what the guest is saying.
Right.
And a lot of the times if I start looking at the chat, I get distracted and I might not hear something, and it just I feel really bad if I do that. So I try just to look at it once when something's wrapping up.
Right.
But this isn't professional anyways. We're just having fun around here.
Oh, I'm very, very professional.
Are you now? Oh, well, we're on the wrong show. Sorry. You may want to check out the Lore Seekers podcast. They're a little more professional about it.
I hear they're pretty good.
Yeah. They're all right. So, yeah. So going back to the Sega Genesis, probably the best game ever, Sonic the Hedgehog. That was such an awesome game. I had a buddy of mine that lived a few doors down from me, and I used to go to his house all the time. Like, I had a Nintendo, like an old school NES, but he got the Sega Genesis, and I always wanted to go over there and play because he had Contra, he had Sonic the Hedgehog, he had whatever the NBA title out that was at the time, like all sorts of cool stuff, and it was just so fun to go over to his house and play that stuff. And then, like, every time I'd go over to play with him on the Sega Genesis, he'd be like, "Let's go outside and play, like, basketball or something." I'm like, I don't really want to do that. I like playing it on the...
We can play basketball on the Sega right now.
Yeah, exactly. Always from the beginning, I always wanted to play the... whatever the console or PC or whatever was out at the time. So
yeah,
I was destined for this stuff.
When the Sega we had was actually stolen from us, because like when I was in kindergarten or something, we were robbed. Our house was robbed.
Oh, really?
That was one of the things they took. But my grandma had one, so every time, kind of a similar thing. Every time I'd go to my grandma's house, I mean, she didn't have cable or anything, so we just play Sega.
Yeah.
We'd do this free, like even after the 360 and all this was out, she always had the Sega, so we would go back and play that. And had Sonic, NBA Jam, Double Dragon was one of my favorites to play.
Yeah.
I think that's all I can remember off the top of my head. But yeah, that was always Grandma's house was playing Sega.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, so you got a bit of Elder Scrolls in you. Let me see here.
Now I wouldn't count myself as like a lore expert or anything.
Oh no, you're now a lore expert. I'm gonna come to you to answer all my questions. So what's probably your favorite kind of genre of game? Are you more fantasy type? Do you like first person shooters?
I mean, it really depends. I mean, I love sci-fi. Big fan of sci-fi, but I also love fantasy. Like my top two favorite franchises is Mass Effect and Elder Scrolls.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I love Mass Effect. I might even would put that above. It just depends on what kind of day I'm having. Like one day I might say, oh yeah, I love Mass Effect more than Oblivion. The other day I might be switched.
Yeah.
It's hard to pick between sci-fi. I mean, they both are so good, Sci-fi and fantasy are both they have their own pros and cons, I guess.
Yeah.
Type of game would definitely be an Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Bethesda Game Studio style open world RPG. I don't love all open world games. I feel like sometimes a game is open world that doesn't need to be open world, and it just feels empty or boring or something. And as you get older, we have less and less time to play. So I definitely appreciate the the shorter single player games now too.
Yeah.
Like I can just spend a few hours a week playing that and get through a really good story because I'm a big fan of stories in games.
Yeah, and that's the thing that it's amazing how it seems like games from I'd say the 2000s leading into probably 2010ish. They were geared towards not much of a big story, but just something to set up the game and then gameplay, and that was it. And it
Right.
seems like within the last 10 years or so, there's been a huge push to not only set a story, but create this massive. Oh, I just hit my phone or my microphone. Create this massive, backstory to the game, immersion into the game, create series of the game, stuff like that. So you're not just pulled into one game and one story and that's it. You're pulled into a big storyline. I mean, almost a
Hmm.
never-ending storyline. It seems like with some of these, because
Right.
even as Elder Scrolls, I started out as Skyrim and didn't even finish the game, but the parts that I went through and stuff like that showed me how big the world was.
Hmm.
It showed me how deep storylines can get, stuff like that, and you get sucked into those different storylines within the major storyline of the whole entire thing. And that's just awesome. I love how games are going that way, where it's
Right.
not just they're not doing gameplay; they're doing entertainment on top of
Hmm.
gameplay. So it's really cool, and I love how uh, the gaming world is now influencing some of these movies coming out.
Right.
I forget the one that I just watched recently. I don't even remember. You remember that World of Warcraft movie that they made?
Yeah. Yeah.
That one was pretty neat, actually,
Yeah.
watching that movie. And it would be awesome to see stuff like that. They made what's the Assassin's Creed, which I did not
Yeah.
like that movie.
I haven't actually got to seen that one yet.
I started watching it and I got so lost in it because I've never played the Assassin's Creed
Oh yeah.
one.
Yeah.
But I was just watching the movie and I'm like, this just doesn't make any sense to me at all. And I'm not really entertained by this. So
Yeah.
I stopped watching it after probably 30 minutes or so.
Man, I'll have to check it out because I do enjoy the. I've played the earlier Assassin's Creed games and I really enjoyed them. So I'll have to
Yeah.
see if it works better for someone who's played the games before.
Yeah. Let me check something real quick. I'm just going to see. Oh, Darius messaged me. What'd he say? On phone, still not. Oh, well, yeah, he's not probably going to make it at all. So it looks like you are the lucky winner to stay on this stream for the duration.
Good.
All
I
right.
didn't plan on leaving anyway, so
That's awesome. Yeah,
no,
that's all
I'm
right.
just kidding.
I'll reschedule Durst for another time. I don't know if you've met Durst before, but
Mm-mm.
he's a really cool guy. I met him in Lore Seekers, and I pitched the idea to Jibs and Cash that, hey, I'd like to do some streaming, maybe help on the side with, the events that we do, stream the events that we're planning out, stuff like that, and they were on board for that. But I didn't know anything about streaming, and Durst just basically took me under his wing, and he's like, okay, well, this is probably what you want to download. Here's the things you can
Hmm.
do to make it look better. Here's, all the stuff that you'll need to get started, stuff like that. And he's walked me through so much stuff, getting all this stuff set up. So
Yeah.
I'll definitely have him on when we can schedule it out again. But anyways, so getting back to what were we just talking? Oh, we were talking about movie influence and
Yeah.
yeah, stuff like that. I would love to see them direct a movie based off of Elder Scrolls lore, like, and it's kind of hard to see. Like, we had this discussion in the Discord for lore seekers, and some people were saying like, oh no, you wouldn't want to, create this storyline that feeds into all the gameplay and stuff like that, because
Right.
then things change, or they may go a different direction and stuff, whatever. But I think something that would be very entertaining is some of the backstories on some of the characters. Like, my
Hmm.
favorite character out of all of Elder Scrolls Online is Roz, and hearing him talk and the way his mannerisms and stuff like that in the game, it'd be interesting to see like a backstory of his and how he became uh, what he is in the game, stuff like that.
Right.
That would be pretty neat to see. So
Yeah, and they could do, I mean, tons of background characters to pull from or events in the history to pull from.
oh yeah,
Or they could even keep it to where maybe the movies just aren't canon. They're just based on the Elder Scrolls universe. And
yeah,
so they don't
exactly.
really affect the video games or anything like that. I mean, uh, talking about on the same kind of topic there, I've been recently got into the Witcher 3 game.
Oh yeah,
And so that got me into the Witcher books. I don't know, the games are based on books. And so I've been kind of researching that. And the books aren't canon to the I mean the games aren't canon to the books. They're just inspired by and use the same characters in the same universe, but they could easily do something similar for Elder Scrolls movies or books. Even I know on the podcast they talk about one Elder Scrolls books a lot, and man, that would be awesome to get some good books in the Elder Scrolls universe.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And that's the crazy thing too is Star Wars, for instance, has a
Mm,
huge fan base, has a lot of stories, and I'll be honest, when they started creating the new series of Star Wars, I really had hoped they would have just taken some of the fan fiction that was out there and went with those rather than just scrap it and make their own stuff. Because even George Lucas, he didn't really have a plan past the series that he made. It was just that was the story. And then they
right.
created the backstories of everything, which they weren't even that great. I wasn't really too big into it, but I'm a huge Star Wars nerd, so of course I bought every version of every story or every
Right.
movie, and I still go out and see most of them on the premiere night, except for the
Mm,
Solo movie. That was the only one I didn't, and I waited until it was like a month or so afterwards and finally saw it. But and that's kind of the stuff that just kind of irritates me with the way the fan fiction, these people that made all this fan fiction, all these Star Wars novels, they put a lot of time and effort into it to create all this backstory and stuff. So
right.
seeing their work not even used in continuing the story or the background was a little disappointing. And
Yeah.
one of the things that I was most disappointed in was actually the Solo movie because uh, I read the Solo background or the Solo novel and thought
Mm,
it was just great. I mean, I really got pulled into that background and everything. And then as soon as they started, coming out with the teasers and some of the information about what the movie's gonna be based on, I was just really disappointed because I'd gotten so engrossed in the novel of Han Solo that you know the movie just wasn't even going to hold anything
all
true.
right. Yeah.
So that was the only one though. I think one of the best ones they did was probably um, what's that one that they created for the like stealing the plans for the Death
Oh,
Star.
Rogue One. Yeah.
Yeah, Rogue One. I thought that was really good because
Yeah, I really enjoyed that one.
there's not a lot of fan fiction on that, so they were able to create something off of that. But they're trying to reach at all these, major stars. So I'm getting off in a tangent, and I'm gonna stop with the Star Wars stuff since this is an Elder Scrolls
No,
stream.
that's all right.
But honestly, I think you're right. There's so much content already. The story creators behind the Elder Scroll have so much content already.
Mm,
They could base movies off of all the stuff they've already created. And I think that would be epic to see, anything created from Elder Scrolls universe. But, I think they keep it the way it is just because they kind of seen what happened with some of those movies and just decided,
yeah.
you know, uh, we don't want our game to end up being trashed
Right.
because someone did the movie wrong or
Exactly. And a movie, other than a movie, if they didn't want to go that route, I mean, you have such high quality TV shows like Game of Thrones now that I would love a TV show, you know, based in Elder Scrolls as well. If they didn't want to do a movie, go with the TV show and make it,
yeah,
same quality as that. That would be amazing.
yeah, yeah, that would be awesome. Like
We're,
even if they did like a just a if they did their own series, that'd be cool.
yeah,
And even if it
yeah,
was just like an internet based thing, if they did it on Netflix, man, I would
right,
love that because they
yeah,
they got a lot of cool stuff coming out on Netflix where, they either dump the whole season at once, or they're like, okay, every week we'll release another episode, stuff like that. That'd be cool if they did it that way too. I think that'd be really nice to see. Man, we got really deep into that, so I'm gonna reel it back in. We're gonna go into some Elder Scrolls questions. So, we know Oblivion was your first game.
Yep.
You did play Skyrim, right? And now
Yep.
you're on Elder Scrolls Online. So
Yep.
we're gonna bypass some of the questions in that, but let's see what in Elder Scrolls is probably one of your favorite pieces of lore, either the Lore Seekers podcast that they've done or something that you know on the side. What's one of your favorite things out of all Elder Scrolls lore?
It's really tough. Like, I guess I'll go with. I really love the story, of Isgrimor and his 500. Was it companions? Of course, I don't know enough to like tell you the story word for word, but basically, he started what are they called in Skyrim? Not the Fighters Guild, the ones who.
The Undaunted?
No,
Oh, mages, thieves.
no, it's the
Dark
guild
Brotherhood.
that's supposed to be the Fighters Guild, but they're not called the Fighters Guild in Skyrim. They're called something else, but I
Oh,
can't remember
really?
off the top of my head
I
what
don't
it is.
know. I don't
But
know that.
anyway, it's the one where you become a werewolf and yada yada yada. But I mean, they're founded from Isgrimor, the companions. That's it.
Companions. Thanks, Mikey.
Yes. And so I really enjoy that piece of it. And the Thieves Guild obviously is really cool. I love the Gray Fox from Oblivion. I don't know if you ever have played Oblivion, but
Nope.
or if you're aware of what the Gray Fox was or is.
Nope.
But so the leader of the Thieves Guild is the Gray Fox, and through much questing, you eventually become the Gray Fox. You become the leader, and so it's this mask. It's this Gray Fox mask, and so it was funny because when you put it on, like your stealth and all your thieving skills would just go sky high because you're the Gray Fox now, and it was funny because you would be fighting a guard or several guards even, and then if you would go to your inventory and put the Gray Fox mask on, oh, I'm sorry, I got it backwards. So you're fighting with the Gray Fox mask on. So they're like, oh no, if people saw you with the mask, you were instantly attacked because you're a wanted thief, criminal, and they'd be like, oh no, it's the Gray Fox, go attack him. And so you're fighting all these people, and if you go to your inventory and take the mask off, everybody will like stop fighting. They'll be like, where did he go? He's gone. It's just like this quirky thing, Oblivion, how Oblivion was. But it was a really cool. The Thieves Guild line in Oblivion is really awesome, and it was just icing on the cake, being able to have that power at the end, just do whatever you wanted, and then take the mask off, and nobody would even know.
Yeah.
But
You said
I mean, there's so much.
That's in Oblivion?
Yeah, that's in Oblivion.
Oh, okay.
Oblivion has the best guild quest lines, hands down.
That's cool. Yeah, I was gonna say the only one I remember finishing is the Thieves Guild in Elder Scrolls Online, and I don't remember any Gray Fox stuff.
Yeah, I don't know when he came to be like a person, so my Elder Scrolls Online might be before that. All that happened.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. All right, that's cool. So going back kind of into your favorites and stuff like that, in Elder Scrolls Online, what's probably your favorite race to play?
Well, I've always played Nord.
Oh, really?
That's what I picked in Oblivion. I don't know why. I think I'm kind of going back to being a vanilla person. I am not someone who plays games and it's like, oh, I'm going to be this epic magic mage warrior. I'm just like, I want to be a guy. I want to be a regular person and have a sword and a shield. Like, it's probably the most boring way to play, but I always love playing it.
Yes.
And that kind of leads into I love playing tanky characters too, because just having the sword and shield is awesome to me. You're just this warrior,
Yeah. That's
So
really
you have
that's really what I got into at first when I was playing MMOs. Was I was always the tank class because I love to just charge in, take all the damage, keep everyone safe, and then be able to just sit there and wail on the guy. But yeah, someone said before when we first started about your tanking epicness. so
I don't know how epic.
It is known throughout the Lore Seekers Guild.
So definitely not an epic take yet, but one day I strive to be.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, and that's the thing that I think the tank class is probably the one that's least played. So I know we have only really a few that I can name off the top of my head. You, Artemis, Spin, Esotech,
Yeah.
And there's some other guy that tries to tank and always fails. Oh, Jeff, that's right. Um, yeah. So, anyways, it just doesn't seem like we have a lot of tanks. It's mostly DPS or healers
Yeah.
in the guild.
Which that
So,
seems like to me, like when I was, in playing with everybody, it feels like a lot of tanks because that group that you just named, we're always playing with someone else. So it's like if
yeah,
there's more than one of us on, we're like, oh, I can tank or you can tank. So it felt like it feels like we don't have a shortage of tanks because they're all those of us who do play tank
yeah.
usually are online. So
Yeah, I've kind of found my niche that I like DPS in this game.
mm,
I've yet like I have a warden tank that I'm doing PvP with, which is fun, but I really want to try a Dragon Knight just full out tank spec and that's it because I'm trying to expand my horizons across like the different races, the different
yeah,
classes, and uh, I keep getting sucked into this whole outcast build or whatever build
mm,
people are talking about. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try that out. But
yeah,
I think I'm gonna just dump it. I'm gonna make my own Dragonite, whatever race I choose, and just play it however I want to play it, just to see how it works out. Because I was having so much fun. I'm still having fun with my Nightblade, but I was just having fun playing it however I wanted until I
mm,
realized, well, you can't really do a Stam and Magicka
yeah,
Nightblade. It doesn't
yeah.
work out that great. So yeah, it was a learning trial, but I know now you go one way or the other, and then you can build something pretty epic. So we'll see. Um, so what so tank is probably your favorite class to play then?
Yeah, I just enjoy tanking. And honestly, um, I played solo really for the majority of my playtime up until joining the Lore Seekers Guild. I've been in and out of other guilds, and I'm not a super, actually, I'm not extroverted person at all. I'm pretty introverted,
Yeah,
and so you get in these guilds, and a lot of them are already established, and so it was hard for me to break through and be social. And you have all these people, you felt like everybody's already connected to each other, and
yeah,
I'm not the type of person. Some people can join a group and just be a part of it right off the bat. That's not me. So I had a hard time. And ESO is a great game to play solo too. There's tons to do with all those quests and stuff.
oh yeah,
Um, so, but I would still level up as a tank, which is excruciatingly slow
hmm
because you do 2000 DPS or something that takes you forever to kill things.
yeah,
So it was a struggle, but I finally, well, actually, I haven't done all the quests, but I still do that because I'm too lazy to change my loadout to like a two hand with and increase my DPS. Because then, say I want to do dungeons, I have to go change everything back, and like,
yeah.
it's just too much of a hassle. I'd rather just grind through the killing of things. I do have a DPS high elf. I don't play a lot on that person or on that tune yet. I need to. It's level 50. It's up to CP now, and I need to get it geared up so I can do dungeons. That way, I can jump in if someone else wants to tank or on trials or something. Because, like I said, those of us who are tanks are always doing dungeons or trials. So it'll be good to have somebody to swap out with
Yeah.
that
Well,
way.
we got to get you in the trials and have you run those too.
I did the weekend before last.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah,
Oh
it
yeah,
was a lot
yeah.
of
I
fun.
remember you
I had a
running.
good time. I wasn't able to join up this last weekend, and unfortunately, I won't be able to this weekend.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll definitely try to make that as often as I can. It'll be tough to do like an every Saturday thing for me, but
Yeah.
I'd like to do it as often as I can for sure.
Well, and that's the awesome thing about this guild too is we're not looking for one set group. We
Right.
have people that volunteer for the weekend. They can play it, and that's how we build our list. We don't look
Mm-hmm.
for one group of 12 and that's it. No one else is invited. No, we try to rotate people in and out as much as possible. We have a lot of people just saying like, "Hey, I ran last week. Let this person jump in this week." Whatever. I mean, I've been fortunate enough that I've been in every single week, but
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to give up my spot first for anyone else that is just jumping into it and has only gotten one or two runs in there. And I'm having a lot of fun doing this because I love the mechanics of all these dungeons, especially the one we just did. Morlocage, or was it
Mall of
Malacage? There we go. But that one was my favorite one so far because it's not as simple as tank and spink. It's not,
Mhm.
tank holds it, everybody else DPS it down. I loved the mechanics of, like, did you see the episode we
I
recorded
did,
for?
yeah. Well, I didn't watch. I was watching while you're streaming a little
Oh,
bit.
okay.
So we had to go and yeah, that final boss. You had to have those runners go out
Yeah,
and do something. It
yeah,
definitely looked like more than yeah, like you said, more than Tank and Spank. And the one we did the week before last, we did two of them, and they were a lot of fun. And they were my first trials, but they kind of like weren't as big as I was expecting. But it seems like Mall of Arcage is definitely one of those. That's kind of what I was expecting for
yeah,
all the trials. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting to those. And I think Cloud Rest is one you are doing this weekend.
yeah.
Should be another good one to jump into.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. Yeah, we'll see. And it's funny too that we have a lot of people that love doing the trials, and it's funny to see like right as we're getting ready to go, we're still like one short, and we're like, okay, someone jump
Right.
in, and then of course we get like two or three people are like, yeah, I want to jump in. Then we're trying to figure out like, oh great, who do we take? So,
Yeah.
but
Yep.
no, it's worked out, and I love it. I mean, everyone's doing solid work on all these trials. I think more ML was probably one of the hardest ones we've done so far, but we
Yeah.
still, you
Y'all
know,
did that for about 2 hours or so.
yeah. No, and I had to cut off at a certain time because I had to jump off and take care of the kids and everything. But and that's another great thing is we can just simply jump out and have someone sub in,
Hmm.
and it's not like I'm not looking for specific gear out of all the dungeons, so the ones that I'm not invested in, where I'm not looking for gear, I have no problem jumping out midway too if someone else wants to jump in, came in late or whatever. So you know,
All right.
it's a lot of fun though. We're having a good time. All right, so let's see. Going back, so we talked about the race, the classes. You like the tank specs. You're a Nord kind of guy. Um, let's see. So what? Going through the Elder Scrolls Online quest lines and stuff like that. Out of
Mhm.
the different guilds, the different storylines and everything. What was probably one of your favorite storylines in the game so far?
Um, I actually just finished the Somerset main quest line yesterday.
Oh yeah,
It took me some time because it's been about a month or so since it's been out, but I really did enjoy that. And then I enjoyed Morrowind. And then there's one quest. My favorite zone, Somerset might be my favorite zone now, but prior to Somerset, Rothgar was my favorite zone.
oh
I
really?
honestly don't remember a whole lot from the main quest because it's been so long, but there was one quest, and someone mentioned it in Discord the other day, where there's the Khajiit, you meet a Khajiit who was raised by orcs,
Hmm.
and so it's so funny because it talks like a not a Khajiit. It doesn't speak in the third person. It just talks like an orc would.
Yeah,
And it was kind of trippy to see this Khajiit talking to you like a regular person and not using, the typical Khajiit speech patterns or whatever. That was an enjoyable. I honestly don't remember what the quest was about at this point. I think it was like reuniting him with his family or something. But
yeah.
um, that was pretty enjoyable. But I haven't finished Thieves Guild or Dark Brotherhood yet. Mages Guild was pretty good. You had Shay Gorath. He's always a fan favorite character.
Yeah.
He was in one of the Oblivion DLCs, so it was good to see him back. And then Fighters Guild was okay. It was just I don't remember much of the actual story was from that one. But I enjoy most everything. I mean, it's hard to pick out some side quests because they do tend to run together after after so many of them. But I mean, there's so many well written ones. It's hard to pick.
Yeah. No, I definitely need to. What was that? Oh, Lotus OD raiding with Party 11. Thank you, Lotus.
Hey.
As we're wrapping up the show, here we go with a raid. We'll be on for a little bit longer if you're good with it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep going. Um, so I just lost my train of thought. Hey, Lotus. Uh, so favorite quest line. So let's see, what else is there? So we talked about your favorite lore too.
I'm
Um,
gonna make the circle into a.
what What was I gonna just ask you? I had something in mind too, and then all of a sudden that thing just went off. Thanks for coming by, Lotus. We're just doing our. You're good, buddy. You're good. We're doing our weekly show, Grab Your Ale and Share Your Tale, where we go through and talk to members of the community. Today we have on the real Jay Clark. He's from the Lore Seekers Guild, and we've been talking about what got him into gaming, the kind of games that he's been playing, and getting into the Elder Scrolls lore and some of the things that we like from it. So, you know what? I forgot to put this in here, but when will the fake Jay Clark appear?
I eliminated that guy a long time ago.
That was his evil twin. We don't talk about him. But yeah, one of the things I want to start implementing is, people in chat, if you have questions for Clark and you want to ask something, or if you have a question for me, you can ask a question to me too. I know we've been having chat go back and forth here, people talking about, what was it that I saw? Just nonstop talk about goats from Jeff. That doesn't help anything, so. Oh, Mikey, you're not helping either here.
We'll talk about. She says fake Jay Clark. The name, the real Jay Clark, came about by a very uninteresting story, but I'll go ahead and share it.
Oh yeah.
Really, it was just like when I first got Xbox Live, my tag was, or my gamer tag was TJ Clark 19. So it was just my initials and the age I was when I started Xbox Live. So it's super boring. Not saying the real Jay Clark is any better, but I just remember when Twitter was first a thing, you'd have all these celebrities that were like, the real Ashton Kutcher or the real, whatever. So I was like, I'm just gonna pick the real Jay Clark as mine.
Yeah.
So I'm always on the lookout for new, cooler names. If anybody has any suggestions, I'll take suggestions, because everybody has these cool like Orchid or Cash or Jibs or something, Beta Rays. I'm like, where do you come up with these things? I need something.
Jibs isn't even like an original thing. It was just like his initials, JB, and it's just like everyone. It was actually Cash that used to call him, "Hey, Jibsy," and that, or Jibs, and that was it. And that's how his name came to be. So,
I am real. That's
my next tune is going to be Mikey Shoop. But it's pronounced Mickey.
Mickey, yeah.
There's so many inside jokes for this guild. It's so funny.
Jigabout? That's
going
to be one of my favorite. That's going to be one of my favorite sayings now.
I went through Saturday night's Saturday night's run looking for just a segment where you can hear Blood Eye just say Jigabout. And I can't find one, so I'll have to have her just record herself saying Jigabout, and then put it on the stream so people can use that when she's doing the royal.
Yes.
Oh man, there's so many other things too. It's just so funny. Like, I know people watching, if you're not in the Lore Seekers Guild, I'm gonna put it up in here in chat, but we actually have Lore Seekers Guild based off of Lore Seekers Podcast, which is run by Cash and Jibs. They do a lot of in-depth lore lessons on different things. They started with the races. They went into some of the storylines and stuff like that. It's a really cool podcast. If you haven't heard it already, maybe check it out. The guild itself is based off of them starting the Lore Seekers cast. They started up basically a couple weeks after putting out the first or second episode or something. And it just took off. We started out with just a PC guild. Now we have PS4 and Xbox. If you check out the video section, we already had Jibs and Cash on the show. We had Never Separate from PS4 guild leadership. And then we have Xbox leader coming up soon too. And we're across all the consoles and everything, so check us out. Let's see. No one's putting any questions in here. I'm really surprised, actually. They're just carrying on with their own conversation here.
Well, I will, if you don't mind, take this opportunity. I got to plug this podcast that I do with some of my friends.
All right.
If it's
allowed.
allowed.
Yeah, I've seen that. No, I've seen that. Go for it.
So me and two of my buddies, we just, you know, got together last year and started doing this podcast called Nerd Processing. It's really we just sit around and talk about what we've been up to in the week or so between the last episode and this episode. We just talk about general nerd topics from video games, comics, board games. Between the three of us, we have a lot of interests and hobbies, and some people might find it really boring. And if you listen to it and you think it's boring, then let us know. Tell us what we can change. Um, but yeah, we release every other Monday on iTunes and everywhere else podcasts are available. So check us out if you don't mind. Leave us a review or something. Just let us know how we're doing.
But
We're on like episode 20 something. We've been doing it almost a year now.
oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to put the name of it in the chat, and then if you guys have a website, I can link to it too.
Let me see if I have. Actually, I should have had all this ready beforehand. But...
Well, and that's the funny thing is when I messaged you to start up the video chat, I saw the little preview screen. Let me pull it up here. It's on my other screen here. But yeah, I have it up on my screen here. Yeah, look at that. I have it.
Yeah, that's because we traded follows there back a while back. Let me see if I can. I'll just link that because we do stream the podcast.
There we
and
go.
If you don't, yeah, appreciate that.
No problem.
But we just do it. It's just we do it for fun. For a while we were doing like TV shows of the week or of the month or whatever. We'd all watch a show on Netflix or something together and review it. But that kind of got hard with all our schedules trying to watch something that often.
That actually sounds fun too, because that's funny. Like you go into the office or whatever, and you start talking about shows and stuff like that. That'd be interesting to do.
Yeah, we did that, and we would do like a video game. So we'd pick like an indie or something cheap that we could all afford. And but yeah, that kind of got hard on us too. So usually our format is we talk about what we've been up to, and then we have a main topic, usually around something that happened, like Infinity War when that came out. That was our topic, and different video games we've talked about, E3. And then sometimes, like this last episode, there's not a lot going on, so we just do a random episode where we all just talk about what we're doing.
That's cool. Yep. Yeah, I think I saw that one episode that you linked to me before. I'm trying to find that one. Oh no, it was on the Twitch channel that I looked at it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's cool. I'll have to check that out. I'm pretty sure I'm following you. When do you guys do it again?
So we record Thursdays, every other Thursday. So we recorded last Thursday. So it'll be like the 19th is when we record next, and we release the following Monday.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So
it's not a live Twitch stream.
We do Twitch, or we do live stream the actual recording of it.
Oh, okay.
On Thursday nights, and then podcast will go out Monday.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, definitely have to check that out. What else is there?
So we actually just had a new episode out today, because today is Monday.
What is the new episode on?
What we talked about a lot of things. Marvel Comics, they're kind of doing this fresh start thing. One of my friends and I are into that. As a group, we've kind of all gotten into The Witcher, Star Wars Destiny. We talked about Star Wars earlier. So Star Wars Destiny is a collectible card game that I and another friend have recently started playing. So we kind of mentioned it. It's really just a random, just a really random episode.
Wait, so... Oh, okay. Lotus was talking about I just noticed Lotus' message about the podcast being great. I'm thinking he's talking about the Lore Seekers one. I was going to say, he's seen your podcast? That's pretty awesome. Oh, I'll definitely have to check that one out, though, because I'm always looking for something to entertain me. It's weird, too, because, like, when I would always tell my son that watching all these people play video games, I'm like, why is that so entertaining to you? Why are you so entertained by someone else playing it? Why don't you just play it? And now that I've gotten into Twitch, I really see the aspect, like, I get the Twitch thing more than I do YouTube, because with Twitch, at least we get to live stream on the spot. We get to interact with those people that are in chat, stuff like that. And that's one of my favorite things to do about these streams is, sitting here, like, this show is awesome to be able to showcase someone, talk to you, get to know you a lot better, and then also see the chat that's going on and kind of get involved with whatever side conversations are going on. So we didn't really do that with this one, but I think that's another thing that I'm probably going to start incorporating is like I love the whole interaction of the whole group. It's so much more
Hmm.
fun to be able to do that than just sit there and watch someone play a game. I'm like, I don't
Yeah, that's
know.
the thing. It's not the watching someone play a game that's fun. I'll do that occasionally if I want to, if it's a game I might want to check out just to see
Yeah,
what it's like. But it's the entertainment, you know, like if there's a streamer who's not interacting or being entertaining, then it's not going to be something I'm going to enjoy personally.
oh yeah,
But that's what people will enjoy the most is the entertaining and entertainment of the streamer or the chat or something. Yeah, a lot of people have that kind of misconception about streaming. Like, why do you just watch people play games? That's dumb. But
yeah.
it's a lot more than that.
Yeah. Anyone watching right now, feel free if you guys want to ask any questions or anything like that. I know Lotus rating the channel a little bit late, but we went through a lot of stuff. We were talking about old Sega Genesis games that we used to play. Clark was talking about how he used to be in he's in accounting right now.
That
Uh,
was a really exciting part of the
uh,
podcast or the
yeah,
episode.
I mean
Go back if
there
you missed it.
there's so many things about accounting I just didn't know were that exciting. So, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff that maybe you missed earlier. The shows are always recorded, so you guys can always go back and look at it later too if you want to check out what was going on. I think every single person I've had on has always had something really interesting to say and just find out more about people. It's just so much fun. That's the whole point of this show was, we get into these conversations on our Discord for lore seekers, and we start talking about all sorts of other stuff outside of the game. As we're sitting there playing and stuff. That's another thing I might actually start doing too. Is maybe share your ale or share your ale, share your ale with me, Clark. Come on, what are you drinking? Uh, no, share your tale is focusing on who's on right now. But another thing I'd like to try out maybe in the future is something similar to this, where we would have maybe one or two people, maybe a four-person dungeon, have them all
Mhm.
up in the Discord, and then go through and play for an hour or two or whatever,
Yeah.
however long it takes, and be able to just have a little bit more camaraderie, a lot of
Hmm.
joking back and forth. So when we started the Lore Seekers Guild, it was actually a group of about five of us that constantly played together during the day. Cash, Jibs, Jeff, Spin, and myself. And we played a lot during the day together, and we'd be running these dungeons and stuff. And that's kind of how, our friendship and stuff really took off and became more when we were doing it. And then we switched over and created, when Jibs and Cash created the Lore Seekers Guild, you know, we started incorporating more people and more people and more people, and it's like one of those things where we have so many people that just come into the chat.
Right.
We jump in together. We're like, okay, first four people, let's go run a dungeon. We don't even
Yep.
care who's in the chat at the time. We're just like, let's do this. Let's go run.
Mhm.
And it's funny because like the core of us that started out. Oh, Jason was another one that we used to run with a lot. But we still have like this group chat that we do on the side where every once in a while we're like, yeah, we need to get the group together and go run something or whatever. But it always ends up being like it will have like one or two people on, and then all of a sudden other people jump into the chat, and we're like,
Mhm.
hey, we're gonna run this. You want to go? And everyone's like, yeah, let's do it. So
Yep.
I don't know. It's a lot of fun. I love being in
It-
Lore Seekers because it's so open, and it really feels like you said it earlier in the stream. Jumping into an established guild, you kind of feel like there's certain cliques, there's certain groups already. There are guilds like that I've noticed throughout my gaming experience that you kind of feel excluded
Right.
from those groups. But with the Lore Seekers, I think we do really good job at incorporating everyone and just including everyone. And
Yeah.
I mean, we had a new person just join. Was it like 2 or 3 days ago or something? We no, not 2, 3. It was like a week before we did our latest event where we did the RP event. That's
Yeah.
something you guys got to go check out in the videos. We did this. Cash built out this. I don't want to give it away, but basically it's a quest line specific to the lore seekers. He created dialogue. He created quest things to do, achievements or not achievements, but certain things that you have to do in order to go on to the next part of the quest and stuff. And it was really fun because it was our first time doing it. It worked out pretty well. I think the RP was a little off because again, we have that camaraderie in the guild where we just don't take each other serious. So.
Right.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's really cool. Did you get to do it or no?
Yeah, I was in the second group, and yeah, you're talking about someone who joined up. That was a girl named Sam.
Yeah.
She had joined the guild just like, I don't know, Wednesday or Thursday, and she was like, oh heck, I'll do the event. And I was like, I thought that was awesome because I would have been complete opposite if I'd have just joined. I'd be like, no, I'm not ready to I'm not ready to reach out to anybody yet. But that's yeah, I think that's great. I hope the Lore Seekers remains one of those guilds that is very welcoming to newcomers, because as someone who is more introverted, and I know I may not seem it as someone who happily volunteered to come on the show, but
yeah,
it is difficult when you come into a guild with lots of people already in it and try to be social. So if anybody else out there is listening and you're that way, I know how you feel, and just all you gotta do is speak up, and people will definitely be very welcoming.
Yeah, I don't know if you caught the episode with April. She's in chat as well, I think, still. Yep, I see her. Depp LeVar. That Johnny Depp lover.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, did you catch the episode
with her?
Me
up. Yes.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, I think a lot of people playing games are kind of that background where they either were socially awkward, they were introvert, they just didn't really fit in, stuff like that. And and that's excellent, because I think really all of us coming together to play games and stuff like that really gives us a chance to interact and stuff like that. And that's one of the funny things is nowadays I think guilds and groups of people playing together on games and stuff is a lot different from what it used to be. And there was always this kind of stigma where if you played online and you talked to people online, you didn't have any real friends or anything like that. But I think when we talked about when I had Jibs and Cash on, I've known Cash for 7 years now, and I consider him one of my good friends because we've talked about a lot of stuff over the years. And we've both had our kids jump on and talk, or hang out. And like, I remember I used to see his kids sitting in the background while we were playing games, and she was just sitting there kind of taking it all in and stuff like that. My son joined Mog Nation, and he learned how to game and be one of the polite kid gamers, not one of those annoying kid
that
gamers.
Is important.
Yes.
You're doing God's work.
Yes, exactly. Raise them right in the gaming community so they don't come in and be a troll. But yeah, that's just the amazing thing is, like, this gives people like us, I include myself in that group, because I was that way. I was really socially awkward before, and it probably wasn't until after I got out of the army that I started to get a little bit more confidence in myself, but still didn't quite feel didn't quite feel like I fit into anything. But then as I've gotten older, I mean, my wife will tell you, I am just out there. I'm very much a social butterfly now, because I'll insert myself into conversations. I'll see someone and just introduce myself to them. Just a good example is we were driving by looking at the dirt lot that we just purchased, and one of the neighbors just so happened to be outside. I stopped the car and I'm like, hey, I'm Tim, I'm moving in. And he's like, oh, hey, I'm Mario. And just like, she's like, yeah, I could never do anything like that.
So yeah, you're one of those people that I just like look at and I'm like, okay, man, I don't know you.
Who are you? Why are you talking to me? Yeah, now I am. But that's the thing is, like, just being able to be social And these kinds of forums, this kind of format has really given me more confidence that, you know what, there's a lot of good people out there. There's a lot of interesting people. And that's exactly why I love this show and doing it, is because it showcases how different people are. I mean, you may think yourself to be bland for just wanting to play a tank spec and just, you're an accountant or whatever. But I think it's fascinating learning more about people and what they do and, who they really are, and be able to, just talk to them about whatever it is that we have common interests in. So I know
Right.
we have Elder Scrolls Online. I suck at math and numbers, so I don't know that
That's
we'll be.
okay.
I don't know that
Like I
we'll get
said,
into deep
we have
accounting.
software for all that,
Yeah,
so we're good.
exactly. Maybe at tax time I'll have a lot of questions for you, and I'll want to talk
There
to
you
you a
go.
lot.
Yeah, if you need any tax help, just come see Lore Seekers accountant. That's what they need to create an accountant role and put me in it.
We should have a banker's role, and then you could be in that role.
Yeah, I'm
That'd be
down.
awesome. So let's see. I'm gonna look at chat real quick. Let's see what we missed. Still seeing something about goats here. Just drop the goats, guys. Drop the goats.
Yeah, I think Jeff had said he's starting to think I don't have any dogs or goats. Unfortunately, that is true.
Oh, you don't have any pets at all?
Well, I
Or do you?
have a dog. I have a German Shepherd, but it's at my parents' house. Me and my wife living in this apartment. No pets allowed, so
Oh,
it's back at my parents.
yeah. No, I have two dogs, and I'm surprised one's laying in the hallway right now. Usually he's either at my feet or around my desk when I'm sitting here. And then I have a little chihuahua that normally isn't more than like 2 feet. Yep, he's right next to my wife. He's 2 feet from my wife at all times. So, I saw something in chat just a second ago. I was gonna say, oh, April heard us talking about her.
Yep.
All good
Yeah.
things. All good things.
Just that you're a dev lover is all. That's gotta be the coolest name story, though. I think I
Yeah,
can't believe it because that's
that's so
it's like
funny too.
based on what one of her, I wouldn't say characteristics, but interests from back in the day, but changed. Like if I was to read that, I would not have thought
No,
Johnny Depp lover.
I always called, like, when I would see her name, I always called her April. But uh, when I read it out the first time, I was like, Depp Lavar. That's kind of cool. I think that's neat. And then she explains how the name came about, and I'm like, you just lost all your coolness. But no. Let's see. What was the song from the 2000 Butterfly? Crazy Town. What song is that? I'm not even sure what that is. But yes, I am a social butterfly. Uh,
Oh, we missed one of Mikey's questions.
oh, we did?
Let's see.
Where's your question, Mikey? It probably wasn't. Oh, what's your all-time favorite fandom?
Oh, okay. Well, the appropriate answer for this channel is
Oh.
Elder Scrolls Online. No, but really though, ESO has such a great. I mean, there's so many in every community of whatever fan base is going to have its toxic members.
Oh
But
yeah.
ESO, I mean, if you go to the, I don't know if you're on Reddit very much, but if you go to the Elder Scrolls Online Reddit, you see daily these posts saying, "Hey, I'm a new player. I just want to give a shout out to so and so for either they gifted me enough money to buy a mount or whatever." And it's like it can be one of the most welcoming
Yeah.
communities out there.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Um,
that's the thing is like it's amazing how very awesome the Elder Scrolls Online community is. And not
right.
just, not just in the game, but like I started up on Twitch probably 3 or 4 months ago, and just
Mm,
started playing Elder Scrolls 4 to 6 months ago. Yeah, probably at the beginning of this year, I started playing Elder Scrolls, and shortly afterwards, after we made after the Lore Seekers Guild was created, I started wanting to do Twitch, and the Elder Scrolls Twitch community is just absolutely awesome. Like I've talked to Lotus quite a few times in other channels, and it's amazing. You'll see a lot of the streamers for Elder Scrolls hanging out in other streamers' channels, and
right.
you don't get that feel in Elder Scrolls at all. Like it's a competitive market. You don't have to be cutthroat. You don't have to bash other streamers, stuff like that. I've never met another streamer for Elder Scroll that has ever tried to say a negative thing about me, and I've never said a negative thing about other streamers. I try to help them out. They try to help me out. It's freaking awesome. Like, I
Yeah.
love this community, both for the game and the Twitch community, because it's just everybody is really, really cool. So it's a lot of fun. I also saw the other question Mikey asked, what are we running after the show? Well, I'm running the griddle, and that is because I have to cook up the bacon for dinner. Everybody's waiting on me to get off to start cooking dinner. So we will have to wrap it up here soon. And they all know we're having BLT sandwiches tonight, so that's one of their favorites. So they're getting kind of antsy, I'm sure.
Yeah, I bet.
Let's see. What did we miss? Anything else? Definitely dropped. Butterfly orange beard. What? Definitely dropped what I was doing to draw
She's
a
drawing.
butterfly with orange beard.
Yeah, she's doing you as a butterfly.
Oh
Since
my gosh. Are you really doing that, Lindsay?
I hope
really?
you see that in Discord here in a little bit.
Oh, I just called her by her first name. Jeez, sorry. I'll redact that if you need
That
me
meant
to.
you were like her parent just then.
Yeah. Let's play Oblivion. No, I'm gonna skip. I haven't even finished Skyrim. If anything, I'm gonna go back and play Skyrim again.
Oh, she threw it out.
Oh, come on. I was looking forward to that, really. I'm surprised your little chat there didn't just get flagged as a URL, because it created away.haha as a URL link. Someone else tried to do that and it didn't work out. All right. April's going to color me as a butterfly. Thank you, guys. If you could, make it a butterfly with a beard landing on an orchid, because that incorporates everything, right?
Here's my quick rendition.
Oh,
you can see that.
Man, that's beautiful. Now we know that Clark is also an artist on top of everything else. This
professional.
He just has no limits to what he can
That
do.
took me 5 seconds. That's how good I am.
It's amazing. It's amazing the talent oozing out of you.
Yes, thank you.
All right, Clark, I gotta get going because I gotta cook some dinner. So, but I appreciate very much you jumping on at the last minute and helping me out here. It was definitely fun getting to know you a little bit more, and we'll be talking. We always talking in Discord, so
I appreciate you having me on. Had a lot of fun.
Yeah, cool. Maybe we'll do this again sometime.
Yeah.
My resident stand-in for the show is going to be Jay Clark every time.
It worked out tonight because my wife's in class. I had just put my daughter down for bed. So
there you go.
So it worked out perfectly.
All right, awesome. All right, man. Well, we're going to wrap it up here. Everyone watching, thanks for hanging out. As tradition, like I said, Twitch ESO community is very supportive. Lotus rated me. I'm going to pay it forward. We're going to go raid someone else's stream right now. Let me see who's out here that I have not... You know what? I haven't done Bert Firkins, and he is a fun guy to watch. So I'm going to raid his channel. And while I'm setting this up, everyone that's watching, if you liked what you saw here, hit the follow button. I do this stream every Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Normally, it's a little more organized. Today was thrown together because my guest had some issues trying to get home. Apparently, he messaged me again while we were going through the stream, and apparently more stuff happened. Like, not only was there an accident that backed him up getting home, but then there was something else that happened right near his house that he still wasn't able to get to the house on time. So that's all right. We'll get him on at a later date. I really want to get Durs on here because he's been really supportive to me. He's really supportive to the ESO Twitch community. So I will definitely get him out here. All right. Well, I'm going to set this up to raid out. It's got the countdown. Every Monday we have this show. Check out the Lore Seekers Guild. I'm going to spam this stuff in chat real quick, just that way you guys can see it. If you want to throw a follow, please do. The new show every 5 p.m. or 5 p.m. every Monday. I have it set up for the next 4 weeks now. Next week's guest. Who was next week? I gotta look at the calendar again.
Was it?
Oh, it's Shoe Swapper. Okay, I'm a little nervous about the one with Jeff coming up. Oh, we already switched over.
Yep, there we go.
All right, cool, man. Thanks for hanging out with me.
Hey, no problem.
Take care.
See ya.